Hi, my name is Jaël. I am officially no longer a master's student educational sciences in the Netherlands, and welcome to my YouTube channel. As you can see from the title of this video, I recently fully dropped out of my master's degree. And in this video, I would like to share with you what has led me to this point and what my experience has been, in the hopes that I can help out someone who is in a similar position. I am actually quite scared to post this video because I am afraid that people will judge me for the decision I made. But one of my goals for this channel is to foster an environment in which people can be open and honest about the struggles of student life, and to encourage people to set healthy and realistic boundaries for themselves. And by making this video, I hope to contribute to this. So there is actually quite a long backstory to this, but I will try to keep it as short as possible. Last year I graduated from Amsterdam University College with a degree in the liberal arts and sciences, focusing on computer science and cognitive sciences. And my goal has always been to specialize in education during my master's degree, so that I can use my programming skills to research and develop solutions to improve education. Because as you can probably see from the title of this channel, education is a topic that is very dear to my heart. So I applied and was admitted to 2 master's programs: Education and Technology at University College London and Educational Sciences and Technology at the University of Twente. And I would have definitely gone to the first one had it not been that there was suddenly a global pandemic going on. And I had previously been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, which is strongly triggered by traveling and not feeling at home, and having to go there and not being sure if I could get back if I felt like I needed to did not really seem like a good idea to me. So I decided to go with the program at the University of Twente instead, because it still seemed like a really good alternative. And the options for taking a gap year and traveling or working were of course also severely limited because of the pandemic. So that was the decision I made, and this was still during the time that I was working on finishing my bachelor's thesis, which, as I already talked about in my last video, was an extremely stressful experience. Please let me know if you would ever want me to make a full video explaining the whole story. But basically, due to the pandemic, I incurred a 1-month delay on a 4-month project. And because my university had extremely strict rules for extensions of the thesis deadline, I basically had to choose between just finishing in time or taking a full extra semester and starting again on a whole new project. So I decided to go with the first option because I felt if I had given up then, I would have even more anxiety having to do it all over again next semester. And I did manage to finish, thank God, but it was extremely stressful, and I worked over 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for at least 2 months to get this finished. All while I was also working for the student council, which was complete chaos because of the pandemic as well. And of course, for some people that might be very doable. Every person has different boundaries. But for me, it literally sucked all the life and energy and happiness out of me. So I managed to finish my degree successfully, and actually with grades I was also very proud of, but it left me completely exhausted. But I had a 2-month holiday before starting my master's degree after the summer, in which I had to do absolutely nothing important or stressful. So I had trust that that would recharge me enough to start my master's degree fresh again after summer. And I did feel a lot better after the summer. So I started the new program with a lot of enthusiasm, but that enthusiasm maybe lasted 4 weeks tops. Because I quickly noticed that there were a lot of aspects of the program that really didn't work for me. And I really don't intend for this video to put the University of Twente or my teachers in a bad light. I think depending on what exactly you are looking for in a program and the courses you take, you can still have a very great time at the program that I attended. And I also think a lot of the issues were worsened because the full year was online due to the pandemic, but it just was not the right fit for me. First and foremost, I really did not feel challenged by the material. I felt I was mostly just rehashing tricks that I had already learned during my bachelor's degree, and I didn't really learn any new skills or ways of looking at things. And this was made worse by the amount of group work we had to do, because I really love doing group work if we are working on something that I really wouldn't have been able to do on my own. But a lot of the assignments we got, I felt like I could have easily done on my own. So the group work often became more of a burden and something that hindered my learning instead of something that added to my learning experience. And on top of that, I also felt like there was very little contact with lecturers. And of course I know that you have less actual class hours during a master's degree than during a bachelor's degree. But for some courses I only had 1 2-hour lecture every 4 weeks. And in between the classes it was also not always very easy to reach your teachers. There weren't really office hours or Q&A hours for a lot of my courses. And emails are of course a great way to ask quick questions, but were not really suitable for interesting discussions about the material. And some courses even only uploaded pre-recorded lectures. So you would never even actually see your teacher live, you would just see the video. And all of that taken together just really did not work for me. Because for me, classes are made fun and interesting because of the interaction between the lecturer and the students. And I just really missed that in this program. So basically the program made me feel very under-challenged and uninspired. So where the whole thesis experience at the end of my bachelor's thesis had already led me to sort of a burned out state. Now I was experiencing completely the opposite, and it was more like a bore out. And I do want to add that I do not like to use these terms lightly. I have not actually been diagnosed with a burnout or a bore out because they are not official DSM-5 criteria. My official diagnosis is a generalized anxiety disorder, but because this time around it was so focused on my academics and my work, and I was feeling extremely stressed and exhausted all the time, I think these terms are the best way to describe what I was feeling and what I was experiencing in a way that is easily understood by others. So I was not enjoying my studies at all, and I really didn't feel like I was getting anything out of it. But because I experienced it to be so easy, I also felt a very strong additional pressure to perform really well. Basically, I believed that if I thought it was so easy, then I had to be able to do it perfectly. And if I wasn't able to, I would expose myself as a fraud and prove that I am actually not as smart as people think. Gotta love me some imposter syndrome right there. So the fact that it was so easy actually put an additional layer of pressure on me. And this led me to feel even more stressed and tired. So after realizing this, I knew that this was not the right place for me. But I was not ready to fully drop out yet, because I knew that with my educational background, getting admitted into master's programs in education was not going to be easy, especially in Europe. And places outside of Europe and also the UK, because of Brexit, were just simply too expensive. So this actually caused another extremely stressful situation, because I did not know if there was any other program that I could get into and would be able to afford that would give me what I was looking for. So what I did was I decided to stay enrolled but not start working on my thesis. And then instead of working on my thesis, I used my enrollment to take courses at other Dutch universities that would hopefully increase my chances of getting admitted into alternative master's degrees in Europe. Because in the Netherlands, it basically works that if you pay tuition fee to one institution, you are allowed to take courses at any Dutch research university. So I basically used that rule to my benefit. So although I did not fully drop out yet, and I would have still been able to continue the program if I really just wanted to finish it to get the degree and then move on, I did basically already quit the program then and there. So while taking these courses, I simultaneously found a program that was very close to what I was looking for, which was the Research Master Educational Sciences Learning and Interaction at Utrecht University. So I applied, but it is a very selective program. So I did not know if my profile would be good enough, especially considering the fact that my background is more in the sciences than in the social sciences. But I actually got admitted, and only with one conditional course, which I had basically already completed at that time. I basically only had to do one examination, which I passed, and afterwards I got my unconditional acceptance, which made me feel extremely relieved and happy. But I was still enrolled in the other courses that I was planning on taking, And I felt like if I wanted to use the remainder of this academic year productively, I just still had to complete these courses. But actually all the stress from the past year had piled up, and right after this happened, I also unexpectedly lost 2 grandparents in a time span of 3 weeks whom I was extremely close to, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I felt like I was pressure cooking. I needed a break. I needed time to reflect on how I could prevent a burned out situation like this from happening again in the future. And I just needed time to relax and get better. So last week I decided to fully quit. And although at first it very strongly felt like giving up and proved that I was not strong enough to make it through university or even life in general, I am actually so happy that I did. I am now able to spend more time on this YouTube channel. I also recently started a small Etsy shop where I sell digital note-taking and planning templates. I will link it down below if you're interested. And I also believe that just being able to go more with the flow and really have the time to reflect on how I am feeling is also going to be productive in the end, because I finally feel like I have the time and space to breathe and really slowly let go of all the built-up tension of the past year. And for those of you who are wondering how I am doing this financially, I have lived off of student loans during my studies, but I have always loaned a bit more money than I needed in case I wanted to go study abroad or do something else that I needed more money for. And I know that as a Dutch student, I am in a very privileged position because our loans are interest-free and we don't have to pay them back if we are not in a financial position to do so. So that is why I was able to do that without fearing for strong financial repercussions. So I'm now using this privilege to invest in some time for myself from now until the start of the next academic year. And I really hope that I will really be able to start fresh again next year in a program that I actually enjoy and that inspires me. So that was my personal experience. And for those of you who are watching this video because they are also considering dropping out, here are some words of advice that I know I would have liked to hear before starting this process. First, listen to your feelings and intuition. If a program is consistently making you feel miserable, and it is not just stressful if you have to hand in assignments or take exams, it is probably a good idea to consider dropping out. Then second, it's okay to take a break. Don't think you are only allowed to quit your program if you have something else to do. If you need a break because you have been going through a rough period in your life, you are also allowed to just take a break, period. Then third, make sure that you have some alternatives open. And of course, if you are really in a crisis situation, it's probably better to first drop out and then see what you can do after. But if you are in a position to consider alternative paths, then make sure to do so. Because dropping out feels a lot less scary if you have some idea of what you are going to do afterwards. And if you are really not sure where to start, try contacting a study advisor or a similar person at your university. Because before I made this decision, I also attended some career counseling just to see what alternatives I could consider. And I feel this helped me a lot to see a way wider range of options than I would have on my own. And also very important is to consider your financial situation, because I am fully aware that compared to a lot of other students, I am in a very good financial position. So I definitely recommend you to consider how you are going to make sure you have a roof above your head and food on the table during the time you are not studying. And if quitting your degree might lead to very severe financial consequences in the long run, and you only have a few more months to go like I did, it might be better to take the L now to save yourself from a lot of future stress, however shitty that might be. But of course, weighing those options is something that you can only do by yourself. So that was my dropping out story and my advice for if you are considering dropping out too. I really hope that you gained something from it and that it will help you in making your decision. If it did, please like this video so that others in a similar position might find this video too. And I would really love it if you would use the comments to share your own experiences and advice on the topic of dropping out, because I think that that could be very helpful for a lot of people. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more videos about student life from me. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I wish you lots of love and a life full of learning.